Big day for certain altcoins as Kaspa is absolutely skyrocketing. We did put a Kaspa video out, so if you're joining us from that Kaspa video, welcome. Also, XRP news as the final judgment is right around the corner. What will the price of XRP do? We also have some big news from Chainlink. Sat down with Swift, someone from Swift and Sergey. They sat down and wait to hear what Swift said about Chainlink and the potential future. Are we all sleeping on Chainlink? We'll discuss that. Also, flows for Bitcoin ETFs. We're going to go over those. We have some news from Gala Games. We have some big news from the HBAR Foundation. Which two car makers are launching a supply chain DApp, so to say, or something on HBAR? We're going to discuss that. Also, we're going to take a look at the markets. We're going to talk about Bitcoin's potential for this cycle and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, well, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel based in the entertainment capital of the world. And, well, this is Sin City Crypto. How you feeling, baby?
Wow. Don't call me baby. You know, I used to say,
why not? I felt like we grew very close together.
The opposite.
When we were down in Austin, Texas, we just came back from Consensus, where we got a lot of interesting insight when it comes to some of your favorite blockchains. We did put out our first video here on Kaspa. That was one of the ones we were the most excited about. And there's a lot of movement going on with the ASICs as well. You know, I think it was it Bitmain was making ASICs for Kaspa as well, or starting to. So
there's a few large miners, so to say.
Yeah, because traditionally you had for Kaspa was just the graphic cards. Now they're designing ASICs specifically for Kaspa mining. So I think that should take the hash rate to the next level.
And why is that important? You're gonna have to watch the video to find out. I covered that in the video. Now, speaking of covering things, let's start with XRP. And Brad Garlinghouse was at, what's so funny?
I don't know. I didn't expect you to say XRP. And you were very excited when you delivered
I'm
that.
so excited about XRP. I can't even begin to tell you. We just had the billion token unlock that was dumped on the market. What a better way to start the show. Okay, all jokes aside, Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, was at Consensus. We listened to his keynote speech. Rob put out a tweet. He talked about, what were the coins he talked about for an ETF? He talked about Solana, Cardano.
Check.
And XRP.
Yes.
I assume.
Wow.
So I've been in the camp that I know technicalities, technically the court case isn't over. But for me, the court case is over. For all intents and purposes for the XRP token, the case is over. It had a pump to 90 cents, came back down, lost all of it, plus some. But the finalization of the final case of the thing that doesn't really affect the price of the token, which is how much money is Brad Garlinghouse and company going to pay as a fine to the SEC, that is coming to a close. So this article here from CoinGape, XRP price prediction, bulls ready for breakout rally as final judgment in XRP or in Ripple versus SEC looms. And I'm just going to read this part here. The coming days could be monumental for XRP price, as in the latest May 8th SEC filing, redacted remedies reply brief. The agency has asked the court to enter the proposed final judgment as a final judgment. Okay, so XRP rallied after the analyst Judge Torres said, hey, look, XRP sold on secondary market sales. Secondary market is not a security. Token rallied 90 to 90 cents, right? It almost doubled. Pretty much doubled. Do you think the same is going to happen when the final judgment comes into play? Are you more in my camp that, hey, the price moving news, the price moving judgment has already came. This is just formalities.
I see. The reason we have varied opinions is that you're in this camp that everything is already decided and that only thing that
everything that could affect the price or should affect the price is already decided.
Really? You don't think that a judgment in favor of of Ripple. Just the news alone wouldn't drive speculation.
But what would be in favor of Ripple? How much money they have to pay?
That's the thing. Like I know you've said a few times that that's the only thing that's here, and you know there's more to the case than that. And so,
look, the final things have been filed, right? And the SEC is requesting that, hey, this final thing we filed, make it the final judgment. And we've heard nothing about anything changing, right? Judge Torres already ruled secondary sales are not securities, but when you sold to institutions, that did constitute a security, which is why we're here, right? The main objective of the last leg of this lawsuit is to figure out how much money Brad Garlinghouse.
The final stages of the case involve determining whether Ripple's actions constituted violations of securities, and if so, what appropriate penalties should be. So they are still in question if they violated securities law. So the judge can rule that they were not in violations of securities law, which would mean they don't have to pay any penalty. If they pay a penalty, it's if they are in violation of securities law. They have not determined that yet. That is what it's going to be. So this judgment phase is a pivotal and not merely a procedural step. And there's a verdict to drop here. Now, the token itself was deemed a commodity or not a security, but how it was sold. But the initial ICO, that initial phase, that is what's in question here. The judge is determining, did they violate securities law in the ICO sale? Yes or no? And if it's a no, there's no penalty. And what does that do what does that mean? That means not only is the token itself not a security, one, that's a win, which we've already crossed that milestone. But if the sale of the security or the sale of the token was deemed now the judge did say how it's sold can be a violation of securities law. However, we're not there yet. That determination hasn't been there. Now, we can conclude by the judge's statements earlier that that's probably the direction that the judge is leaning, Judge Torres, but nothing is set in stone here. And so the SEC has been taking lump after lump after lump when it comes to court cases. Wouldn't surprise me at all if
Rob, I can argue that it would be more of a win, for the rest of the crypto markets, the final leg, than for XRP.
I agree with you. I mean, I think when we talk about, we're talking about price prediction, right? So when we talk about XRP's price, how is it going to react to this final leg of the lawsuit? It already got listed on Coinbase. It already got relisted on Kraken. So everything, the positive things that came out of the court case have already happened for the XRP token. You don't think there's going to be a euphoric, speculative rise in price?
I think that's already happened. You think we're going to get a second one?
When did it happen?
When it got to 90 cents. Did it not go from 45 to 90 cents?
50 cents right now.
Exactly, and it lost it all. Would you like me to pull up a chart for you?
Look at its previous all-time high.
Yeah, that was before. That was at $3. That was when it was number 3.
Yeah, and then
and there's way more tokens in circulation now than there were back then. Here, let's take a look. XRP, and damn, this chart looks like a straight-up stable coin over here. So XRP, right? This was its rally, okay? You see this rally right here? This was when Judge Torres said XRP sold on the secondary market is not security. A one-day candle, Robin, that went from 46 cents, wicked all the way up to 93 cents. That is a 2x. And then guess what it did over the next... Here, I'll draw this. I'll even make this a little easier for you, my friend. Over the next...
That's even more...
35 days, it lost it all plus some.
So that's even more of a reason to think of this. The court case was going on, right? So if you had a if you had the what was the I don't know the legal term for it, but when they made that ruling on
summary judgment,
the summary judgment, just off of the summary judgment, which means that the court case hadn't even finished yet, but just off of the summary judgment alone, we pretty much got a 2x, and that and that was also baked and wrapped in with the fact that they were still saying that there was possible security violations by the way that Ripple sold the token. So if you take that, and if you take that scenario, you had a positive and a negative. Now we can argue that the positive outweighed the negative, but you had a positive and a negative. It was just a summary judgment, not even the court case being done. And it rallied damn near 2x.
So let me ask.
Imagine what would happen when if the judge is just like the SEC has no case here. You know, remember, a lot of this is not whether or not. Now, a lot of what's being debated here isn't whether or not you can make an argument that it was a sale of security. I think, you know, you can simply say, hey, look, the way they raise money, the way they issue tokens was likened to a security sale. I think everybody's in agreement to that, right? The one question was here is that the Ripple reached out to the SEC. They were under the impression that they had followed the proper procedures for listing. They had the green light, and then all of a sudden the SEC comes back and says, "Hey, you knew what you were doing. You knew you didn't have the okay, and yet you proceeded anyways." And that was pretty much what this whole court case came down to, was Ripple saying, hey, SEC, you told us we got the green light. We're good to do this ICO thing. Now, all of a sudden, you're backtracking saying you didn't communicate with us. And so it's obvious to say, hey, maybe the way you sold it was a security sale, but you told us we could sell them anyways. That's the whole argument. And so if we come out on this back end of this court case and they just dismiss the thing, they just say, hey, due to technicalities, you didn't properly advise Ripple on how to sell their token. You misguided them, whatever it is. They just rule in favor of XRP. There's no downside negative. The price is going to go absolutely bonkers, bro. It's gonna easily 2 to 3x.
So then your thesis here, going back to the chart, your thesis here is that this was all given back because the court case was not over, and that we're gonna get all that.
It was also a dual-sided narrative here. You had one, the token itself was not deemed a security. Two, the sale of it was deemed possible sale of securities. So why are they in the court? Why are they in court? Was because of the way it was the sell of the XRP token, how they sold, and it was a violation of securities law. That didn't change. The only thing that changed was that the token itself. So you could argue that it might even be a bigger loss, because the whole reason they're in court, the judge in summary judgment said, yeah, but you could have been in violation with that one. So, I mean, if anything, you just gave a check mark to the token, but you didn't do anything to the actual lawsuit. But the lawsuit's been looking very promising as far as leaning in Ripple's favor, as far as the SEC being very counterintuitive, I guess, where they say, hey, yeah, you're good. You know, how many times have they done that? Come in and register. And then there's no way of going in and registering, right? That's very, very, very common. And I wouldn't be surprised if if Ripple came in, talked to the SEC, hey, we want to issue this token. They probably are given the green light or given some advice. And then next thing you know, they got sued on the back end. And be like, hey, well, you see that? Look at far. What?
We got a whale sighting.
We got a whale?
Yeah. Been a while. We haven't seen, we've been whale watching for quite a while. I haven't seen any whales. We officially, I believe Simon used to be a whale. So Simon, welcome back to the whale group, my friend. Do we still have that?
Yeah.
Split.
Arr, she blows.
We appreciate all of you that support us. We especially appreciate the whales. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Whose side are you on? Are you on my side or Robin's side? Do you think the final judgment for the Ripple, we're going to see similar price action as we did last time? Are we going to see a 2x? Are we going to see a 50% rise? Put a 1 for yes, put a 2 for no. Curious to see what you think.
My thing is that I actually kind of agree with your narrative. I do believe that there's going to be a fine dropped. I think that the judge will probably impose some kind of guilt to Ripple, and I think that there will be a fine, and I think that the price rally won't be anything insane. I think that once it's over, price maybe run up 80 cents, 90 cents, sure, 70 cents, whatever, wherever. I think it'll be positive for Ripple.
So about a
Yeah,
70 to 100.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I think as long as they don't get the book like straight thrown at them, I think it'll be positive for Ripple. And my whole thing is that if it is just a 100% elbow drop on the SEC, if they just dismiss the whole damn court case, expect massive move up on.
I think on everything.
On XRP, particularly XRP though. And what was the ones and twos, by the way?
1, they agree with you. Price is going to move up significantly. 2, they agree with me. It's pretty much going to stay stagnant. All right, let's move on from XRP to Chainlink. This was at Consensus. This is Sergey Nazarov with Chainlink. And listen to what he had to say. And then tell me if you have enough Chainlink in your bag.
Yeah, so I mean, we announced the results of a POC at the I think like Q3 last year, where we worked with over a dozen institutions and Chainlink to understand how can our community today leverage a lot of the existing infrastructure that they have in place to be able to interact with tokenized assets or different kind of tokenized value on different blockchains. So we tested a couple of different corridors, say public to public, public to private, and really it's around enabling adoption or giving a path towards quicker adoption, because institutions don't know which blockchains they're going to have to connect to, or they know what they have today, but in the future, like how do you know in 5 years these blockchains will be around? And they don't want to have to go and invest in entirely new parallel infrastructure in order to do that. So they have all the investment that they've ramped up in Swift for a number of years. And when you think about a return on investment and kind of speed to market, can they just leverage all the existing infrastructure, processes, connectivity, messaging, et cetera, to be able to access these new networks, right? And so that's kind of what we've done with Chainlink. We successfully demonstrated that from a technical standpoint, and a number of the institutions that are members of Swift are also having conversations with Chainlink, and we had a good collaborative experiment there. Yeah, and
who are the members of Swift? Everyone, every bank, everyone. What are your thoughts on that, Rob?
This was such a good keynote speech or conversation between Sergey and the Swift representative there. The thing is that Sergey kept saying, and it wasn't in that particular clip, was that Swift essentially is like a decentralized, not decentralized, but
like
it's like a DAO where it's not a company. Swift isn't exactly a company, but it's a board. It's
ran by its members.
Yeah, it's ran by its members, so that the banks elect who's going to run it. And there was very positive. They were patting each other on the back, right? And so Swift, it wasn't like Sergey came up, sat down, and said, "Hey, man, you know what? We're so grateful to be working with Swift. Like we can't." It was almost like a mutual conversation. Like, "Hey, look, we're running this Chainlink thing. We got CCIP interoperability. Swift comes out. Hey, what they're doing at Chainlink. The fact that they're already integrated with most of the layer 1 smart contracts, if not all of them. All the big names are using Chainlink. And why go through build a new relationship with each one of the blockchains? Why build a relationship with Cardano, with Binance Smart Chain, with Avalanche? Why go through the hassle of building a relationship with every single one? Why not just partner with Chainlink and then just use them as a node to plug into all of them? And not to mention, they've been up and running with these smart contract platforms. They've been integrated already for years with no significant issues as far as security. And well, they've also been building with Swift for up to, I think, 7 years now is what was said, not in that particular clip, but at the very beginning of this conversation, 7 years in the making.
I'll do you one better. Not just, hey, let's launch on other chains or let's interoperate with other chains. Hey, how about let's not have to uproot the current infrastructure we have and have to build something from scratch. We can keep what we have now, right? They're on the ISO 20022 number token standard.
Mm-hmm.
Why have to change all of that to now become public so we can communicate with other chains? Why not use something like Chainlink? And let me ask you a question, you watching. For the project that is going to connect the banks to public blockchain, and their token will be the universal gas token, is a $10 billion market cap undervalued or overvalued? Or extremely undervalued? Or ungodly undervalued? Guys, we're talking about, and this sounds crazy. We're talking about a $300 to $500 billion project here. $300 to $500 billion, and I might be underselling it here a little bit. And these are massive. No, we're talking about more than Ethereum. We're talking about half of Bitcoin. But when you talk about,
You're saying a 30 to 50x on and what's the time horizon on that? The $10 billion, you're saying it's gonna be 300 to 500.
3 to 500, let's say in the next 5 years.
Next 5 years.
3 to 5 years. But what would that put Chainlink's price at? That would put Chainlink's price at $300 to $500. $300 to $500 Chainlink.
It's pretty bullish, man.
It is very bullish, but for good reason, right? It does what it does on the Oracle side. It has other things it does, VRFs and all that, right? Chainlink functions. But the CCIP, and not just, oh, they're connecting chains, but what's going to be the actual utility of the token? It is going to be the universal gas token that settles transactions from one chain to the next, from private to public, from public to private, and vice versa, or public, private, private.
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. Just my time horizon is a lot further out than that, man. I just, traditional finance moves extremely slow. The banking sector moves extremely slow. Swift moves extremely slow.
But you know what doesn't move extremely slow? Is the crypto markets. And we're already seeing massive amounts of tokenization of funds.
Off of your
you think the banks, the pilot's done. There's nothing fundamentally they have to change about what they're doing currently. They just got to plug in and play.
But real-time settlement is still going to be done in the archaic system for quite some time. And even though Swift is sitting here on stage with Chainlink, I understand that there is a transition in process. But that transition is like that 1995 Windows computer trying to download a 5-minute video clip. It's the loading process is so slow. This transition is going to take an eternity, and I think it's going to be longer than a 3 to 5 year time window, as you're kind of alluding to. I'm extremely bullish. I agree with every narrative you said. I do think that that there's not much standing in the way of Chainlink, and I think that if I had to make a pick on something that's more than 5 years outside of Bitcoin, I would be hard to pick anything outside of Chainlink. I genuinely would find difficulty weighing another project over Chainlink in a 5 year plus time window.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you too. What is a safer bet than Chainlink? In the next 5 years,
there's really not much. Now that's 5+ years. Right now, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm a degen at heart. I'm trying to make money, probably just like you are. I'm looking at this upcoming bull market. We have ETFs being.
Did you buy
listed.
any of those celebrity coins?
I have not, no. But I'm just looking, and I'm just saying to myself, like, there's about to be so much damn money made, and
that Iggy coin got a lot of backside.
I love the Chainlink play, but right now there's money to be made. There's a ton of money to be made, and I'm in the camp that it's probably, or not even problem. I'm in the camp that like I'm sniping out these small alts or smaller alts, and there's going to be some massive potential for money here. Remember how hard it was to make money on an altcoin in the last bear market? How hard was it to make money between 2020, the end of 2022, and mid 2023 for that year and a half? It was damn near impossible, right? You had, I think Pepe was really the only thing
you were shorting.
Pepe, and then I think Polygon had one pump. Outside of that, really wasn't much, right?
Unless you were shorting.
Yeah, unless you were shorting.
What we don't short here is our channel sponsors, and today's crystal clear 4K stream is brought to you by none other than CAMS Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how CAMS can help your business scale and grow and maximize your networking, IT, and cybersecurity, They are the company to reach out to. Pick up the phone, call them, or visit their website. It's right there on your screen, bluewiretech.com. Or there is a link in the description of this video if you don't feel like typing it out. So with that being said, I'd like to move on to BTC. And if you're joining us from our Kaspa video, welcome. Let us know what you thought about that. And for those of you that have not watched it yet, definitely we're going to recommend you watch it. We met someone down there from the Kaspa marketing team. Interesting things he had to say about Kaspa. So take a look at ETF flows. This is from May 31st. So on Friday, BlackRock, big day, $170 million of inflows. Fidelity, 5.9. Everything else was flat across the board, with the exception of Grayscale ticking back up, $124 million in outflows, bringing our total net flow to identical what we saw the day prior, which is $48.8 million of inflows. I also want to share this from CoinShares. We had our fourth consecutive week of weekly flows, weekly positive flows, with Bitcoin leading the way at $148 million. Ethereum number 2 at $33.5 million. Solana at $5.8 million. And then everything else was either flat or negative. And then this is interesting here as well. And so you see here, top flows by country, okay? And so the U.S. had the largest, of course, the largest capital market. Switzerland had 36.8 million and Canada 24.6. I want you to look at this last column here, right? Assets under management. You take a look at the numbers, and I crunched some numbers. I decided, hey, what percentage of these numbers is versus GDP? So we take a look at the 5 highest one, right? Let's start with the U.S. So the U.S. currently has, with their AUM at around $75.9 billion, that's around 0.25% of their GDP. You have the lowest on this list is Germany, with less than 0.1%, 0.09% to be exact, of their GDP, and their AUM is right around $4.3 billion. Sweden and Switzerland are the highest. So Sweden comes in at or more than 0.5% of their total GDP, with their assets under management coming in at around $3.536 billion. Switzerland is right at 50% on the nose, which is, I mean, that's pretty big. We know they got City of Lugano there, right? They call it the Bitcoin City. Lot of, the WEF is there. We have the Definity conference was in Switzerland as well. Of course, you have Davos. And then Canada, which came in at around $5 billion. That is 0.22% of the GDP. So right in line with the United States. If these numbers, Robin, we talk about the U.S., right? We talk about Sweden, Switzerland, they're at 0.5% of their GDP. U.S. is at 0.25%, so half of that. Germany, which has a GDP of over $4 trillion, they're at 0.09%. Do you think these will eventually get to where Switzerland and Sweden are, closer to that 0.5% of their GDP? And if we do, if that is the case, we're talking about a 5x from Germany, a 2x from Canada and the USA, and these are massive markets, totaling around $30 trillion, those three combined. A lot of money flowing. Is it still early to get into Bitcoin?
Still early? Yeah, of course. I think that
I asked that question because you have some people watching, right, that have been around for the bear market. They saw Bitcoin go down to 16K. They might have bought, they might not have bought. They watched it go up to 20 to 30, 40. Now it's at 69. So they might be saying, oh, it's too late to buy Bitcoin. That's the reason I'm asking that.
I look at Bitcoin as the strongest commodity. And so it'd be like, I look at Bitcoin in the same way that you look at gold in the early days. Like, if we were in the California gold rush, right? If we were in the 1600s and we were sitting here saying to ourselves, like, hey, is it too late to get this gold thing? Like, sure, maybe in the next 5-8 years, maybe you won't become a millionaire or rich, but it's pretty much a no-brainer to pick up gold when at any point in time in your life, right? If you would have bought gold when you're 18 years old and now you're 38 years old, over 20 years, obviously against the debasement of currency, against inflation, gold is a no-brainer. And it's the same here for Bitcoin, right? And so I don't think that there's ever going to be a time where is it too late? Now, as far as these ETFs, we just got started. So those numbers don't represent the pension funds. I know there's some articles that are out in regards to some other states. Remember Wisconsin had picked up.
Robin, you're just a segue man over
There you
here,
go.
bro.
So you got more states to follow Wisconsin on buying ETFs. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be so much more inflows than we're seeing already. And what we've had is some hedge funds, retail, some institutions dabbling in, but we haven't even seen the tidal wave yet, right? We haven't had the quarterly meetings where one board member is like, hey man, we are getting left behind. Look at MicroStrategy, look at these banks, because the banks are now getting exposure. What do you think is going to happen when Bitcoin's price is 2x from where it is now? When we're at $130,000 Bitcoin, $125,000 Bitcoin, what do you think other companies are going to say when quarterly reports come out from JP Morgan, from Wells Fargo, from these big respected names, and they're just raking in profits, right? They're looking like the smartest people in the room, and they're going to be the biggest companies. Everyone, you're going to get, the banks are not only going to realize profit, but they're going to layer in more, right? I understand that it's going to be a portfolio position. They're going to reallocate, but let's be real. Bank of America, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, the like, all the big names, they're not at 1% to 3% Bitcoin. So this whole idea that, hey, these big companies are going to get a position in Bitcoin, price rallies, they're going to rebalance. Sure. But that's for companies that have that 3 to 5%, that 2%, whatever it is. But what I think you're going to get is some massive profits out of the big companies. They're going to start increasing their position. They're going to get closer to that 1, 2, 3%. And that's a massive amount of money that's going to be flowing in. It is a little disappointing that the U.S. doesn't lead in that category, though. I'll say that. I was trying to find it, but there was
video.
No, it was from Charles Hoskinson.
Okay, while you look for that, I'm
Yeah,
going to
go
play
ahead.
this video. This was a professor emeritus at Marquette University talking about the potential of other states following suit with Wisconsin and their pension funds going into Bitcoin. Listen to this.
We are joined by David Krause, Marquette University Emeritus Associate Professor of Finance. And thanks very much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
So what is the reaction within the kind of investment industry to this news?
The investment industry is pretty amazed that a pension fund this early in the introduction of the Bitcoin ETF came on board. They expected it might take several years before there would be institutional involvement with Bitcoin investing.
So Bitcoin ETF is different and apart from the kind of Bitcoins that folks might have in their digital wallets?
Yeah, that's right. It was January of this year that the spot Bitcoin ETF was approved by the SEC. That allowed investors like the university systems or SWIB in this case, the Wisconsin Investment Board, to buy directly these securities that are regulated by the SEC, highly liquid, and traded on exchanges.
Still, was it a surprise to you to see that?
It was.
The guy pretty much said the institutions got FOMO. So usually you wait years, right? You wait years. If you want to see how this thing is regulated. You want to see how the product is. Is it liquid enough? Is money flowing in? And they did it in 3 months. So what he's pretty much telling you is that these institutions and state pension funds had FOMO. Imagine 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 2 years from now. What is that going to look like? Are they going to continue to get FOMO as Bitcoin continues to inch up in price? The answer to me is unequivocally yes. And so I don't know, like some people need social proof, or what's my favorite celebrity doing? Are they on board with crypto? Or, hey, does my bank approve of this? You have a state pension fund Okay. Government pension fund FOMO'd into Bitcoin. And you're over here worrying about Bitcoin's price going down 10% to 65K. Come on, guys. Stop with that. You find what you're looking for?
Yes. Well, it's about Crypto Valley in Switzerland, and so I haven't found any recent articles. These are a little bit outdated, but I think they had a 80% growth in the last couple years, and so this one is from I think it's 2021, and the other one's from 2018. But innovation in crypto is going abroad, and that's obviously because of regulation here in the United States. Also, still, I know they have the MiCA bill MiCA from Europe, but it's still there's a lot of complexities on launching in the UK and other European cities. But Switzerland it's leading the way, right? And so, obviously, you have the Credit Suisse, which is one of the largest banking organizations that went under. And so is this a transfer of banking for finance for Switzerland? Because, they've always been the gold standard for banking. And, well, banking hasn't suited them well recently. Maybe they're switching over, right? Maybe they're going to be, if the U.S. drops the ball with these damn vetoes and all this other crap on the SOB 121 bill that President Biden just...
We can't get it overturned. We need a 2/3 vote.
Yeah.
If we get a 2/3 vote, they can overturn the veto. So we'll see. But now, not to get too political, now you're talking about Democrats having to not only break with their party, but with their president. Doesn't typically go that way, but anyways... Happy Wolverine said, love the channel, fellas. Kaspa Cass, we love you too, man. Welcome to the channel. I'm assuming it's your first time. I haven't seen your name. Either way, welcome. What's not welcome are glitches on the stock market, as Warren Buffett went from the most richest person to the most brokest person, and then back to the most richest person, as the New York Stock Exchange says a technical issue was what caused Berkshire Hathaway's stock price to go down 99%. Just a heads up, okay? If for some reason you had a buy order or you bought some, that's going to be null and void, okay? They're not going to, someone said, oh, you could turn 1,000 into 300 million or 30 million. That's not going to happen. Anyways, and then we had...
I do want to say right before we depart from the conversation on politics, I did want to say that Coinbase and the friends are donating quite heavily to Fairshake. So Coinbase donates $25 million to Fairshake to defeat the quote-unquote anti-crypto candidates. Fairshake has doubled its fundraising in recent weeks, and they brought in $160 million following donations from Coinbase, Ripple, and Andreessen Horowitz, or A16Z. So we're starting to see that not only is it just Twitter and crypto degens being a little pissed off about the executive branch's position, the SEC's position on crypto, but hey, you know what? They're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're backing candidates that are more progressive on crypto. Don't need to do much research to figure out which candidate that is as far as on the presidential side. But, I think this money speaks louder than words in the political system. Simple, but right. You take away money, politicians will change everything they represent.
One way to get their opinion.
So let's see what happens when this escalates, right? And Coinbase is leading the charge here, $25 million. And that's not their first donation either. And so when the fundraising well runs dry and Democrats are sitting here saying, hey, man, we need some more capital. We need to raise some more money. And they look over at the competition. And one last thing right before. What are you gaining by shutting down crypto? What votes are coming in by you shutting down crypto? Is there somebody out there that is like, you know what? I ain't a fan of crypto. This Biden thing, you earn my vote. Like, no, you might get a handful of them. But all you're doing is alienating, pissing off anybody that is
50 million Americans.
Yeah.
50 million Americans.
Yeah, and there's no large group of people that are like, I need my bank to operate exactly as it is.
Robin, do me a favor. Search up how many adults are in the USA, because I know there's around 330 million people, but that includes kids. How many adults are in the USA? And 50 million of that, what percentage is that? That people, the United States people who are over the age of 18 have cryptocurrency. While you do that, meow, 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 Roaring Kitty is back. My God. Okay, so this dude literally just posted one thing. So here, he posted the Uno reverse card, pretty much saying, run it back. 10 million views, 18,000 retweets. And then we had this from Unusual Whales. Deep effing value, aka Roaring Kitty. So let me scroll up a little bit. So he said, holy shite. I have been reporting on a GameStop whale buying $20 calls expiring June 21st over the last 7 days. Deep effing value, aka Roaring Kitty, has disclosed that he was the whale. This is insane. His position value is over $200 million. Robin, I know you watched that movie on the airplane ride to Austin, Texas. The guy started with $50,000, Robin. $200 million in GameStop. Some are calling him absolutely insane. Some should have said you should have taken your money and run. But the dude is back. We take a look at GameStop. GameStop stock up 32.74%. When this tweet was put out yesterday, not only from Roaring Kitty, but from Unusual Whales, the pre-market or after-hours trading, it was up over 20% to the point where Robinhood had to put a disclosure at the top of their app saying, hey, look, if we surpass 20%, we cannot get the orders filled. So, interesting to see there. And then we have this as well. Andrew Left, who's going to get left holding a bag of nothing. The founder of Citron Research has placed another new bet against GameStop today. This is per Bloomberg. In May, he also announced a short position in the company shares. He said, quote, I have covered my short from May and then reshorted today. We went over this already a while ago, but we showed you the chart of when the bull market really kicked off in 2020 and 2021. And we saw when the GameStop fiasco happened, GameStop happened, crypto market took off. Now, I'm not saying they're 100% correlated, but they got to have something to do with it, right? We're talking about retail. Could we be seeing the same thing? I mean, 200 million, it's like what happened last time, but like 50x, right? 40x. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I think this is pretty remarkable. I mean, the guy is, for you to be able to rally that many investors, that many retail people, and you're able to literally bring one of the largest hedge funds to their knees as just a dude streaming in the basement of his house with a red ninja bandana and cat shirts. It's pretty remarkable, man. Pretty remarkable.
We're also seeing a lot of these GameStop meme coins rallying too.
The biggest one's on Solana. I think that's up.
Proceed with extreme caution. But I'm just saying that obviously when you see these trends, a lot of meme coins, speculative plays pop up. Is there an opportunity to make money? Yeah. Is there an opportunity to go to zero? I think that's more likely, but something to keep an eye out for. I just wanted to throw that out there. Not only is there a buzz on GameStop on the stock side and the stock market, but could there be another play here? I mean, remember what happened when GameStop price shot up in the last bull market, right? In 2021, GameStop stock went crazy. But what followed immediately, right? What happened there? Let's just go down a memory lane here. You had people signing up for Robinhood that weren't traditional traders, and they created an account. They made money on Robinhood. What did they buy next? Dogecoin. Dogecoin. Where is Dogecoin today? Take a look. Dogecoin only up 2% on the 24 hours. It isn't up much on the week at all, or it's actually down on the week, excuse me. So it was at 17 cents a week ago. Currently at 16 cents. Could this be time to make a play on Dogecoin? I would argue yes. I think that if you're looking for a meme coin play, a quote unquote relatively safe meme coin play, I think that this might be one of the sexiest entry positions prior to a big bull market rally that we've seen in quite some time. It's been at 16 cents a month ago. It was at 16 cents a week ago. GameStop is rallying up over 30% just in the last 24 hours. The 1 year chart, obviously, when you go back to the beginning of the bull, or when you were in the depths of the bear market, sure, we've 2x'd from there. But what have these other altcoins done since this time? Well, a lot more than 2x.
Solana's almost 20.
Yeah, we've seen these meme coins, Pepe, Book of Memes, even Shiba Inu has performed pretty damn well. I outperformed Dogecoin. And so is it Dogecoin's turn? I would say yes. So when I look at these GameStop headlines, for me, it brings back memories of what happened to Dogecoin shortly thereafter. We're seeing another pump. Go ahead, timestamp this, clip it, run it back in about 2 weeks. We're going to revisit this one. June 3rd's call on Dogecoin, 16-cent entry position. I think you'll be a fool to overlook this and go into another meme coin.
What about that Trump coin?
I'm saying for the top altcoins, the top meme coins. If I had to make a play on Pepe, Shib right now, or what are the big boys?
Pepe, Shib, Donk, Whiff, Donk, Bonk,
Donk.
Whiff.
Dog Whiff hat. I think Doge is it, man. I think Doge is about to gain the narrative again. So that's my pick.
Take a look at the rest of the markets here. So BTC is up 2.3% over the last 24 hours. That's 69,262. Having a hard time getting back up to 70K, but could that be coming soon? Potentially, yeah. Let's take a look at a Bitcoin chart here. So Bitcoin on the 4 hour, kind of been in this descending triangle, which they typically break to the downside, but it broke to the upside. And so don't be surprised if we get a retest of this trend line, depending on when we get that retest. Could be anywhere between 67.8 and 67.4. Let's just call it above $67,000. If you zoom out to the daily chart on BTC, I want to show you something that the last time this happened, Bitcoin went on a massive rally. So I want to point you to this matrix oscillator from Lux Algo. Okay, I want to take a look bottom here, right here. Okay, so I want to take a look at what we're seeing now. We're seeing a crossover of the hyperwave above the zero line, right? So trending in the right direction, and we got a buy signal. Well, when was the last time we had a buy signal right at a crossover? It was here in December of last year. So let's take a look at what the price of Bitcoin did in December of last year, which was right around here, okay? So Bitcoin's price went from around $41,300. This initial leg up was a 20% move to 49.2. It did retrace, gave it all back, and then rallied again. And take a look at what the hyperwave showed us. Again, it gave us another buy signal, but this time at the depths towards oversold territory where money flow was red. So money was flowing out, and then Bitcoin had that massive rally. And of course, this was leading into the ETF. So you can say a lot about that. But that initial move of the crossover was 20%. What would a similar move now? And of course, none of this is guaranteed. Technical analysis is all about probabilities. But if we saw another 20% move, where can we see Bitcoin from now? You're looking at around a $83,500 Bitcoin. If it plays out like it did. Could we see it happen? Absolutely. You have all the buy pressure coming in. The halving's already happened, right? We're down to 450 Bitcoin mined per day. What are your thoughts?
Makes sense. You know, I was discussing this last week before we headed off to Austin. It was, hey, Bitcoin breaking previous all-time highs. Was at 74,000?
74.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to slow down between 75 and 80. I think that...
So I think once we cross 74...
Yeah. And I was saying that last week, and, you know, you're showing the chart. Sure. Will we hang out there for a day or two? Perhaps. But I do think that the move, once we're over 75,000, I think that's a clear indication that we've broken all-time highs, right? I think if it's 74, 1 or 2 and we get rejected, but if we cross 74,000, we cross 75,000, and we're up in the $76,000 territory, I think that it just accelerates, shoots past 78, 79, 80. We see something like 83,000, come back, test 81, and I think that's where we hang out. And I think that's within the next. What was your time frame on that one? On that?
No time frame. It's just the last time that signal flashed.
Yes.
Bitcoin.
I
went
think
up.
within the next, I'd say,
I think it was over.
I think the
21 days.
I think the next 5 weeks, I think we're above 80,000 and comfortably above it, using 80K or 81K as support.
I did mention there's some big Hedera news as two car manufacturers, Kia and Hyundai. So hear this from the H-Bar Foundation. Together, Hyundai, which is South Korea's largest car manufacturer, and Kia have launched their supply chain with the power of the Hedera network and artificial intelligence through their supplier CO2 emission monitoring system. Both companies are computing carbon emissions at every stage of the supply chain. This enables them to secure reliable data across its suppliers' business operations, including procurement of raw materials, the manufacturing process, and product transportation. The implementation of Hedera to manage carbon emissions is a significant step towards promoting sustainable practices in the automobile.
Yeah, hey, bro.
Automobile industry. Okay, damn it.
Wow.
Automobile. You have no room to talk, though. So, but now I am giving you room to talk. As I would like your opinion on this, I had to double check this to make sure, right? Because you got to verify the sources, even though it's their H-Bar Foundation. We saw everyone overreact to what the BlackRock thing. So, what are your thoughts? And this is true, by the way. Hyundai, Kia, supply chain, something I've been talking about, as far as makes sense bringing them on blockchain, not just for car manufacturers, but for fashion and shoes and clothes and everything, right? You can track from beginning point to end point. It could bring a lot of revenue to companies. Take a shoe company for Nike, for example. They lose about $1 billion of revenue due to people buying fake Nikes thinking that they're buying real ones. Well, with supply chain management on blockchain, everything could be verified. So with what Hyundai and Kia did and choosing Hedera, what is that?
You know, the thing is the beauty of data management or data storage or checking in with data is that it's all updates in real time. You don't need to worry about when the last time the website was updated. You don't have to go in and request transcripts. Hey, send me over a PDF of where your emissions. All of this can be tracked in real time, transparent, without anyone's permission, right? So instead of having to go to someone's website, you can just say, hey, what are your emissions? Check the blockchain, right?
No one's checking the blockchain, G.
So it just brings out simplicity, right? And simplicity always wins, right? What happened when you had the BlackBerry and the iPhone came out? Everyone's like, well, where's my keyboard? You don't need it. Well, where's all my extra apps at? Why can't I download? Simplicity will win out every single time.
I also think
even
convenience.
It's simplicity kind of ties into convenience, right? Simpler it is, the more convenient it is. And so from an institutional perspective, if you are a regulatory agency, a body, a government, or just simply a company that just wants to pull data, imagine if you're like, hey, man, you know what? We need to partner with this company X, right? And then you got company X and you got company Y. Company Y, you request the information to make a decision as far as either an investment or partnership. Company Y says, okay, we'll get back to you. Sorry, we're not in the office. We'll get those over to you in a minute. Here's a link. Okay, hold on. Send it over here. Company X, they say, hey, we need this information. All they do is send you a blockchain address. Like, there it is. Or a blockchain explorer, right? They say, hey, here's all the numbers you need, right? And then more than likely, they'll have more of a polished version, like Blockworks or chain analysis. So, there's a handful of them. And You just send them that, and then you get these nice little pie charts, and they're all updated in real time. It's a weekend. And so just from that easy use, it might just be from a outside perspective, it might just be better just to go with the company that's using blockchain, right? Because less headache, the numbers are there in real time, it's updated. There's no need to, and then how many times have you reached out to somebody and you requested some kind of information, now whether or not it's an insurance, you needed some document, it's something for a passport renewal, whatever it is, and you email somebody and you never get a reply, right? Sometimes you got to send a second email, a third email. If it's just there, transparent, public knowledge, and anybody can access it, you're going to win out a percentage of the time, right? Maybe the other company might be intuitive, they might be quick, but how many times are they going to drop the ball? How many times is that intern not going to reply? And so
Could it cost jobs?
yeah, jobs, partnerships. And so I think at the end of the day,
jobs.
yeah, yeah, but also how many jobs have been created, right? Going back to that Switzerland thing, there's thousands of companies and millions of jobs that were created from having blockchain and crypto companies start up and run. And so for technology, I'm always on the camp for every job lost due to technology, there's another job created on the back end, right? Now it might be a skilled position. Obviously, if you replace a cashier with a robot that scans, or a point of sale terminal that you scan yourself, I mean, how many moving parts and how many companies were brought in to create that machine, right? So I'm always in the camp that blockchain, sure, might replace some jobs, but also there's a bunch created on the back end.
Robin, since we're on the topic of cars, a meme here for you. Cargo space. Car no do that. Cargo road.
Wow. Amazing.
Talk to me about Kaspa. So let's talk about Kaspa, right? It's in the thumbnail. It's in the title, right? And again, Kaspa video is out. So if you haven't watched it already, go watch it. If you're coming into this live show from the Kaspa video, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. Put out a lot of Kaspa content on this channel. Kaspa, Robin, is up 15% over the last 24 hours. What are your thoughts on Kaspa going into this bull market? Do you have any price targets? Is there something specific you're excited about? And do you think, what are your thoughts on where Kaspa's headed and where it can go?
No, I'm always in the camp that without proper liquidity, you can't get to the next stage. I think that's the only thing holding it back. I mean, because of the fair launch or the way that the Kaspa was released, there's no giant wallet that's holding liquidity to send to exchanges, right? And so exchanges need to accumulate or acquire enough Kaspa to facilitate trades. And so the big boys haven't got into it yet, but it's coming. We did do a video on some of the potential large exchanges. There is one in talks, and it's not far away. It's coming down the pipeline, and these exchanges are not going to let easy profit go unrealized. And they are listing tons of crap tokens. And so a quality project to get listed on the major exchanges, we know.
Look at the volume, $120 million over the last 24 hours.
That's what I'm saying. And, is this a precursor to a large exchange listing? I think so. It's coming, man.
Did someone get insider info? I mean, I had insider info. I shared it with you guys.
I thought it would have been listed.
Well, these things take time, especially with what you said. The point you brought up is they can't just reach out to the foundation but give us coins.
Yeah, that's the reason it hasn't been listed yet. And so when Coinbase, when Binance, when Kraken, it's coming. It's coming. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I think the win is fast approaching. We know one of them is in process right now. And that's the only thing. It's just, if you wanted to pick up Kaspa, if you're just kind of that nonchalant retail investor, the guy that just has the major apps on your phone and you're not going through all of the small dexes, tiny offshore exchanges here in the United States. If that's you, you're going to have a hard time picking up Kaspa, right? And so liquidity is king. Once we plug in the liquidity of large exchanges, it's off to the races. And it's at number 26 on the market cap list, and that's without a major exchange listing. And so when is it going to happen? I would say within the next couple of weeks, we're going to get one. And then competition is going to look at one another, and they're going to say, look, man, you know what? Coinbase or Binance or Kraken, they have listed. We need to get that too, because for every user that wants Kaspa and sees it on a major exchange, and that's not their primary exchange, they're going to go create an account. They're going to lose a customer, right? And so the major exchanges don't want to be left on the outside looking in.
Don't mess with these communities, man.
Mm-hmm.
They'll bury your ass. I do want to give one more big thank you to our channel sponsor for today's show, which is Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business scale and grow, visit bluewiretech.com. Also, guys, we are back in studio for the rest of the week. We are excited to be back. We hope you enjoy all the content that's coming your way. We're starting to put up more shorts now. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and have that notification bell pinged on. And like all our videos, support the channel. Big thank you to all our members as well. That's all I got. Anything else?
Rocco, did you miss us?
Yes, I did. Especially David jokes. Oh my God,
Wow.
so hilarious. Especially the last one he just showed, the car.
the car,
Oh my
yeah.
God, I laughed my ass off.
Yeah,
LOL.
Yeah, you have no ass left. I can see.
Yes, there is nothing left,
There's
really.
nothing left to laugh.
Nothing to
Wow.
laugh about it.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Ah,
All right.
nothing better than a good laugh.
Where's the tornado out?
I missed the tornado, guys. Although there was enough tornadoes in Oklahoma to cover, but hey, nothing like a David tornado. Thank you so much for tuning in. To all the new people that joined and are here, welcome. Make sure to subscribe. We love you guys. Watch the Kaspa video. It's a really good one. We love you guys. See you tomorrow. Peace.
Ciao a tutti.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya, to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.